Okay, so I am recording in my house right now because it's literally freezing cold outside. So to trim this, it's going to be awkward doing this in a different place. What I've done, I made little snips here on the ends from where I needed to trim it, but instead of having to rip it all off and rotary cut it, I just went ahead and laid it flat and put pen marks. So I'm going to go like underneath the hair instead of it being so defined like it is right here. I'm going to try and go underneath the hair itself. And I have my flash on my phone right now, so hopefully it's not awkwardly bright. If it is, I apologize. And I don't anticipate this being a beautiful cut. I anticipate this going underneath a vinyl cover-up. And I'm gonna have to vacuum my table, I think. I'm kind of cutting it slightly short. Slightly a little bit longer on purpose because my last one that I did shrink just a little bit. And someone had said, watch out, leather shrinks. But at that point, by the time I saw that comment, I had already started epoxying over it. I'm having technical difficulties and I didn't even pour myself a glass of wine. Okay, so what I'm doing is trying to scrape the tip of my scissors underneath the hair. I don't know if you can see it right there. Kind of where the hair is going over the scissors. I'm kind of accidentally ungluing this just a little bit. Okay, that's it. Here's our little tail that we ended up with. So that's decent. That line's right up, so that may present a problem later, but that's okay. We're just gonna wing it. Let's go ahead and smooth this out, otherwise we're gonna have that weird little blip right there. We might as well have a small gap kind of the whole way around. I've never done one with actual hair. I've done that leather piece, but not one with actual hair fibers. So I'm going to get everything ready to do the Mod Podge and we'll be right back. Okay, so I have a little cup of Mod Podge, got a paintbrush. I was actually Mod Podging last night, so it's got a little bit on it already. Just for good measure to make this easier when I start trying to seal this on the other end. Let's go ahead and do that. The reason I did a little cup of Mod Podge is I don't want to risk getting hair in my big jar. So now what I'm gonna do is very slowly but surely paint right there. I've got to go nice and slow, otherwise these hairs are not gonna lay down right and they're gonna look like trash. So I'm not gonna record this whole thing in regular motion. I am going to do it in speed up mode, but not time lapse. That bites me in the butt every time I try and do time lapse. I can't figure out how to adjust it on my phone. Supposedly there's a way to adjust it where it's not like once every 6 seconds, it's once every 2 or 3, but there's a new app called something through Instagram. I don't remember what it's called, but anyways. So this is what I'm going to do. I just want to make sure and lay it down with the Mod Podge in the direction that the hair is going. If I try and go the other direction, it's going to have this weird little cowlick, which it's going to have some already. When I got these at the fabric store, it's not a fabric store, it's like a leather working supply shop. It was just in a bin, and I really had to sort through them all to get the best one, and it was folded kind of funny, which is unfortunate because, you know, you'd think that they would take care of that kind of stuff in that scenario, but not always. So anyways, that is what I'm doing. Just gonna zoom in so you can see it. I know that flash is probably really awkward. I can just see the Mod Podge soaking right in. I don't know if you can see it on screen on your end or not, but I feel like it's just sinking in. It's going to take many, many layers of this, but the first layer is going to be the most obnoxious because I've got to get it to lay down in the direction that it's intended to go. And I have to keep my eyes out for any stray hairs that end up down here that are like the brown in the cream right there. Just because it's real obvious. So right here, I've got kind of a weird little, well, maybe let's zoom out just a bit. Right here, I don't know if you can see that. It's like it's sticking up like a little newborn baby hair. So I'm actually going to go on the under layers here and then kind of work my way over layer by layer. Like I said, this first layer is going to be the most pain in the butt. But I think it'll be worth it in the long run. We're going to find out. I said earlier in one of the first bits that I started on this that if this was a fail, that it'll never see the light of day. But that's not entirely true because I don't mind posting my fails because it might show somebody what not to do. I definitely learned how to admit my mistakes and my faults over the years. By the way, I am just using just kind of a cheapy paintbrush. I got this at Walmart this weekend. I apologize for sniffling. I feel like I sneeze or sniffle every single video that I do. Good old Texas allergies. So that's what I'm going to do. I am not recording this the whole way through. I might put it on time lapse, but I really don't intend on doing all of this tonight. So we'll see. I'll see how much I actually record, but you get the gist of it. Right here, I'm going in between and over those little layers of where the hair's sticking straight up. So we'll see. All right, stay tuned. We'll get this next part going in just a bit. Okay, so far so good. I've got about 25% of this coated so far. Now I'm getting to the weird cowlick part. This is where it's going to be the trickiest. So instead of doing this in time lapse, I've decided just to kind of check in every few minutes. I'm only going to do this part tonight. I'm actually using that right there to put pressure on my seam so that it will lay down a little bit better. But this is, you can kind of see how that is literally, well, maybe I can't. There's a little piece of hair right here. I think that's going to give me a hard time laying down. I'll just have to give it lots of attention because I think this is where the piece was folded inward, which is unfortunate because it's such a pretty little piece. This is definitely going to take a lot of sealing. Once I get it sealed completely, then I'll do the X-Acto knife around the edges like I did the leather tumbler. It's kind of funny watching the Mod Podge literally just sink in to the fibers. Yeah, that's not so bad. What I might do is let this dry, and then tomorrow's Christmas Eve, so I definitely don't think I'll have time to work on this tomorrow because we'll have too much going on. But once we get back in town, I might literally comb it, kind of break up this Mod Podge, and then do this again so that it looks a little bit finer instead of kind of clumped up. I'll do a test patch of that. But this is one area that I'm kind of getting it underneath the hair and then laying the hair on top of it like that. Had a pretty decent sized cowlick patch from probably, like I said, the fold. I'm almost tempted to try and like take something and do that, but I don't want to make like defined lines in it. And I have a feeling that might do that. This may look like a terrible, cheap toupee when it's all said and done. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it looks bomb.com amazing. But I have realistic expectations. I'm not going to be heartbroken. I'll be a little bummed if it doesn't work, but we'll see. All right, so that's all I'm going to show you for this little clip of the video. I'll check back in when I get back to work on this in a couple of days. So this is all we're going to do for now. Stay tuned in the next week for the rest.